Yo, what is going on, y'all? Welcome back to Cardinalytics, Arizona Cardinals podcast, hosted by fans for the fans here on January 6th, 2026. One day removed from the firing of Jonathan Gannon. Jonathan Gannon has now been fired from the Arizona Cardinals here. I know we all seem happy, obviously. We'll get into it. We'll say our nice words as well, but we'll also talk about the football aspect, which
Nice.
is what we're here to talk about for sure. So, join my two co-hosts, Shad, Jake. Welcome back to the pod. Been a month away. It's been a painful season. How are you boys feeling? Day after JG has been gone.
Feeling pretty good, honestly, man. Like I'm gonna keep this opening short and sweet, but dude, it was pretty depressing there. I mean, Cardinals football has been over really since week five. Like, maybe like honestly, yeah, week five, six. Like, and like, dude, it, we're all big football guys. Anyone that's followed this podcast knows that, but like, just such a depressing season. I mean, Shad called it from the rip. I was in denial. Corey was in denial. I was in denial the longest, but Shad called it back in week five, like the incident with JG losing that game. And he basically said, like, I'm not gonna take this team seriously until they fire this clown. And yeah, they did. And you were right, hand up, I was wrong. Like I was led to believe by a guy like what is it, Ben Albright, I believe, that there was like no chance in hell that he'd be fired. He knew all the people, he knew it like wasn't gonna happen. So I was pretty much just convinced into that. And yeah, man, like I was not feeling good about next year. I was starting to hear rumors, and I'm sure you guys heard them too, about they're running it back with Petzing, Rallis, Jeff Rogers, JG, like not changing anything except getting rid of Kyler. And I was just starting to think, bro, like, oh man, like we're really gonna roll this with 34, 35-year-old Jacoby Brissett, like the biggest fraud I've ever watched play. Like, because to the casual eye, everyone's like, "Oh yeah, like they like lit it up," and it's like, dude,
In the
like
third
this,
and fourth quarters.
like, dude, I can say I was at the game in which the most passing completions ever in a game was recorded, and that was a home game in which my team lost by 3 scores. Like, and that's sort of just like the epitome of this season. Like, you force Kyler out, and then you decide to roll with JG because it looks good. And like, dude, people stopped going to the games. Like, it was depressing. I mean, just a joke. Like, honestly, bro, I haven't like sat down and like really watched a Cardinals game in like quite literally like over a month. Like, I'll like poke in like here or there, but like, and I like I'll watch, to see if Trey McBride for fantasy was gonna do anything. But like, this season's been over for me, bro, since I was at that Tennessee game week five. And it's just depressing, man. Like, I looked at the trajectory of it, and we were like right there with San Fran on the road in week three, right? Like where Zay Jones drop away, and then in Seattle week four prime time, like Kyler leads the charge after Marv tried his best to sell the game, and then special teams sells the game, and then literally that next week we're dog walking Tennessee as we should, and you're like, all right, we're gonna get to a game above 500 and be like right back in this thing. And then Kyler, has his foot injury, and that was the season, dude. Like they benched him, and that was obviously an awful call. And I guess Gannon, like it wasn't his call, but like that's super concerning that the head coach wasn't, as Corey and I were talking about earlier, like he didn't have the autonomy to say like, no, this is my guy, like he's gonna play, and he sort of just got taken for a ride. But that's the reason we're sitting here with him being fired, bro. Like if you can't make decisions and call the shots, and you're gonna trust Drew Petzing, who like take a guy like Deshaun Watson. I know there was some off the field stuff, but like this guy was like an MVP caliber player in Houston. He goes to Cleveland with Drew Petzing, and then he fucking sucks. So it's like it's just crazy, bro. Like I mean, the whole. I said I was gonna keep this long, so I'll wrap it here. But it's a good day, man. Like I'm happy to see Gannon go, and a little Easter egg here for you guys. Obviously I've talked about it with you guys. I think I mentioned it on the show at one point, but I did have the opportunity to meet JG at the Kyler Murray softball game this past summer. And dude, if I'm being completely honest with myself, and I didn't share this with you boys at the time because I really and I'm not trying to go back on anything here, but if I'm being honest with you guys, like it was a it was nice that he took the time to chat with me very briefly, but he definitely has like an attitude, sort of moves like his shit doesn't stink type of guy. I'm gonna be honest, bro. Like there was definitely a little air of that. And I remember saying to him too, like, this is gonna be a hell of a season. And he didn't really say anything back to that, which was kind of bizarre. So just want to get that out there. Like I said, I appreciate the man like spending some time to talk for like a quick sec. But yeah, man. A lot of people have been posting those viral clips of him from the beginning, and a lot of people saying it was never gonna work. And I'm sitting here happy, and I know I was the last to out of the three of us to get on board with getting him out the door, but and I want to give a lot of props to Shad because talk about a ball knower, bro. Like week 5, you said like I want this guy gone, and here we are, bro. Like at on the eve of the playoffs, sitting at 3-14, and he's gone. So hopefully, brighter days ahead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
Shard, you called this week 5.
Yeah,
That's
I
week 5.
mean, honestly, like I didn't think that he was gonna lose what 11 straight or however many. What was the? I don't know how many games we lost. Right, like we only
Lost,
won one
Nine
lost
game
five
straight.
straight.
after.
Lost 5 straight, then we lost 9 straight. 14 out of
Yeah,
15.
no, I didn't expect that. Like I thought maybe like we'd lose 10 games this year, and I'm like we lose those 10 games, and the quarterback wouldn't have been the issue. But like. Here and now, honestly, I didn't know. Well, I saw the picture that Kyler posted. Is that what got like sparked people talking about like, oh, him and JG might have had like a good relationship, and JG probably wanted to play him. And honestly,
Yeah.
here and now, if JG did want to play him, and Monty or whoever was just like, nah, like we not playing this man, well then it would make sense for JG to stay because the season was lost when they decided to bench their starting quarterback. I mean, I
Right.
don't. I don't understand why people can't understand that concept. Like you had one guy who lost 3 games by a total of 5 points. I've seen people say you were never competitive in any game against your division opponents. That's not true. We
Right.
lost 2 games by 4 points, with our starting quarterback. And the second you decide to bench him, it's like, what do you expect? You got a backup out there. He's not about to win you games. And if he does win you games, he's not going to win you that many games. So, but no, JG just to me from since that Tennessee game has just shown a level of incompetence from a head coaching standpoint, from a X's and O's standpoint, from a leader of men standpoint. You're hitting dudes in the chest, like I don't know. At that point, I was just checked out, right? Like I'm just like, look, this dude doesn't seem like he's the guy. And honestly, what really like cemented it was the losses against divisional opponents. Obviously you can't go 0-6 against them, but you can't be losing to teams by 40 points in your division. Like it's just not, and the talent disparity is not that big. And I'm not gonna play revisionist history and act like everybody in the media reporters weren't talking about this team being a team that was primed to potentially make a playoff run because they added so much on the defense because they had similar guys coming back on offense. Like we saw the offense went from one of the best rushing teams to the worst rushing teams in the league, and they didn't change nobody. Like they didn't lose nobody. They just lost the coach. So you can't tell me that's the talent because the talent's there. It's been there. Um, and so just at the end of the day, like I'm glad that Michael Bidwell did what he needed to do. It's baffling to me that like people were shocked that this could even be a possibility of them firing JG because I mean, if you compare his record and his success and where he's at contract wise to Cliff, I mean, I think it was more pressure to get Cliff out the door, especially after you just re-signed him. He took you to the playoffs a year ago and you know what I'm saying, you just re-signed him. So that's more money that you have to pay him. JG, I mean, you got 2 years left on your deal. Buddy, you won 3 games this year. and, and you've won, I don't know, like what, 18? I don't know how many games he's lost, but he's just lost a
36.
ton of
15
games.
and 36.
Yeah, 15 and 36 in the
Crazy,
in his
bro.
tenure here. So
Ass.
like I'm just thankful that it happened when it happened. I was having a rough day on Monday, and if I didn't get that news, I was gonna crash out. I swear to you, I was gonna crash out. Like I was having the worst day on Monday. And so that was the best news of the week, honestly.
Yeah. It for me it didn't come it came as a shock just because of literally every single reporter, that we saw out there is that we listen to, that we look at, that we follow for information is saying, all signs are pointing to, JG feels good. There's been no conversations. They haven't had no talks. And I mean, even me, I got blocked by our good friend Benjamin Albright because he continuously mentions how JG is so solid and this that and where he lost me at completely. This is a long time ago, but where he had lost me at completely was when he said that we as fans don't know where we're at in our rebuild, and it's like, hold on, that's a lie, because if the Broncos, when in John or whatever Sean Payton's second or third season, if they were 3 and whatever, they'd be calling for his head too. They would not be wanting to see that. So for him to try to say that was where it started for me. Is that like this dude is like, he clearly likes JG. He has some type of relationship with him, whether he says it so or not. Whatever type of relationship he could have. That to me feels like that there's some connection there between those two guys, because he continuously made excuses for him, and he wasn't making excuses for the team and all the other things that are happening. And as it came out, all the talk about the injuries, it was a lot of injuries. And like I love how I think somebody put out the salary cap numbers, right? How much money was lost, to injuries for the Cardinals this year. And obviously that number is exceeded because of Kyler Murray's high salary cap hit. So it's like you can skew it however you want to. The Cardinals, they have a lot of injuries, yes, but some of these games they could have found a way to win. Like Jacksonville has won how many games straight? Houston has won how many games straight? Those two teams, they were beatable at the times that you played them. Like especially the Jaguars, you lost 27-24 because you made a mistake in overtime and in the fourth quarter, because your teams just don't have the level of details, processes, and this was all stuff that we were saying last year. We were saying this last year about specifically the offense. At that, the defense, it looked much better last year than it did this year with less talent. And that's the most confusing part of, as Shaw mentioned, the incompetence of the coaching staff. Like the details and the small things were never there consistently enough to have success, regardless of it was a Kyler issue or not. For however many people that love to say that, like to say that you're not supporting the team if you're not, attacking Kyler. And it's like, no, like we can see the team for a whole, and the team as a whole missed details on all 3 phases of the football game consistently. Like as Jake just mentioned, to start his soliloquy about it. Like the kicking crew messed up the Seattle game. If they kick it normally, Seattle likely does not get to just kick a field goal and win the game. They would have, gone to overtime, and you play your cards from there. Like there's so many
all
things.
The momentum. Kyler was in his bag the whole fourth quarter.
Yeah, and that's just one game out of the 14 that were lost this year. Out of the last 5 that were lost after the bye last year, like there's so many things that we can point to in these games to say a competent, level-headed, detail-oriented football team wins these football games, regardless of talent or not. And so it's tough to see him go, because he did inspire a lot of change inside of the building, and he did have the attitude, like Jake mentioned. He kind of he's a little smug in person, but I can accept the head coach that's like that on the football field, because I want you to be that towards the other team. But as Shaw mentioned, the Tennessee issue, he was like that to his own team. He did that to DeMercado, and a lot of things from that point. Now I can say I feel badly for defending it as much as I did, because it feels like it was a turning point in this season and this football team. And DeMercado had literally put out there on Instagram how this year was the toughest year of his life, regard football playing career, whatever.
Bro, I fucking hate Imari DeMercado. I swear to you, like you go to the AJ Green miscue against Green Bay, and that derailed our season, or really franchise. Like it set us back some years. DeMercado fumbling that rock. We scored 27 points. We never scored over 27 points in any game this year. He walks into that end zone. We kicked the extra point. We scored 28 points. Just to let y'all know that.
And we win the game, and like,
we win the game.
We might be in the playoffs. Like Kyler never gets benched. Like, dude,
it's just and my thing is, and again, this is on the surface, on the outside looking in, and we probably won't know what happened between Kyler and the organization until who knows when, right? Like it could be a podcast years from now. It could be I don't know. Who knows when we'll know what actually happened, right? But like from the outside looking in, JG, you're out here giving more grace to Imari DeMercado, continuing to give him opportunities when he's literally cost you games this season. But your starting quarterback, when he's healthy or allegedly healthy, is not playing. Like it franchise guy. You know what I'm saying? Like it just doesn't add up. Like why is he getting so much grace? Why is Drew Petzing getting so much grace? But your franchise starting quarterback is not. it just never added up. And to me, like I said, the season really went to shit, and the season was just thrown away when they said, "Hey, we're going to bench our starter to play a backup." And in any like on any team in the NFL, you don't expect your backup to just go out there and win games. Can't everybody be Mac Jones with Kyle Shanahan and go out there and win however many games? Like it's just not more than likely if the Raiders had to start their backup all season or the Vikings had to start their backup all season, they're losing games. Like it's
Yeah,
just that's just what it is.
yeah.
So I don't know, man. Yeah,
It's a tough situation, and obviously, like with Kyler, like we saw how he was moving around. The week of the Dallas game and in preparation for practice and all the other things, and like it's hard for me to think that he was out. If he did not have if he it was not stated that he had Liz Frank foot
hmm
surgery or whatever or injury, whatever the case was. It was just a foot. So in my eyes, it's like I'm watching how he's preparing against before they play Dallas. Like he looks fine to play, and I think that's probably where the fallout came was that he wants to go home. He wants to play Dallas. He wants to play in Dallas at his hometown, and they like, nah, we're good. And that's when it's like, all right, like fuck y'all then. Like it is what it is at this point. Like, and
yeah,
so like if Monty Ossenfort wants to do that, like I would like just the respect. Once if you move him and he moves off your team, the day after you move off your team, you have a press conference. You say it was our decision to move off of Kyler during the season last year, and we always were planning on moving off of him. This that. Like to me, that's a lot more respect than saying all options are on the table. Like stop leaving your fans in limbo for the sake of your deals. Like stop doing everything that because again, this person has been here longer than you. He has more loyalty to the fan base than you do. Like regardless of
yeah,
whatever Monty Ossenfort thinks, yeah, it's your job, but he's also a player that has been an inspiration for the fan base of this football team for years, regardless of his play good or not. So at the end of the day, like I think we're owed some respect as fans to hear, you know, it was our decision to move off him during the season. We wanted to make sure he was upright and able to be moved off of this, that, and we didn't prolong his foot injury. And I hope there are reporters in there asking what was his foot injury? Why was it so dynamic, for him not come back if he seemed healthy enough? And it would
hmm
just let him make sure that he answers the question fully. But regardless of whatever the college saga is, it did not, translate for JG. Obviously, they went out there and lost 14 out of 15 games. It's a tough scene to see. I don't think you could ever lose that many games in a 15 game span and expect, any type of security. And, Bidwell, respect to him, he moved off of him. And it's probably the quickest I've seen a fan base kind of turn on a coach. I think even yourself, you and a couple others were supporters of Cliff all the way up into the end. I don't think there were a lot of
yeah.
people that were, supporters of JG up until, 4 or 5 weeks ago, 6 weeks
I
ago,
mean,
maybe.
yeah, it's you can't defend them.
Yeah.
Like I mean, I know looking back at the Cliff era, it's just like okay, granted your starting quarterback was 3-8, but he blew out his ACL, right? Like, and everybody
Mhm.
started getting hurt. That's legitimate injury. You want to talk about injuries? Your quarterback tore his ACL. People want to talk about injuries with this team. You benched your starting quarterback. That's not him getting hurt. You softly whatever benched him. Like it's totally different. So like I just feel like at the end of the day, like there's no excuses for Jonathan Gannon. Like you're
Mhm.
constantly getting embarrassed. I mean you're losing games in the first and second quarter, like against your divisional opponents. And Michael Bidwell, I mean he said it himself. You've only won one game since week two. Like
Mhm.
I mean it should be as simple as wins and losses. You're not winning games. You should go. Like
Mhm.
you can't. I just don't see how people could defend him.
I truly think that it amplifies even more when all three teams in your division, you know, are in the playoffs and they all had what 12 to 13 wins each. Like at the
Yeah.
end of the day, you see that it's impossible to say, all right, well, like, you know,
Are
this is
we
good
even
enough.
close? You're not even close.
Is this
Yeah.
even close? As I say, are we good enough? Is this even close? Like, so at the end of the day, like, respect to JG, but things have to change. You have to get some type of level of respect in terms of this division before you can even start talking about playoff. And for anybody that was coming at Cardinals fans saying, "Look at your roster. How could you think that you're going to do this?" I've been getting a lot of that the last 2 3 days. Like talking with my friends. It's like, first of all, like this team won 8 games last year. They had their quarterback still. They had a lot of budding stars. They had a great defensive offseason. I had a lot of reason to think that they were about to have success. They just won 3 games in the division last year. Like I had a lot of reason to think they're about to have success, and they come out here and they don't do anything with it. And it's like I looks like I have egg on my face saying whatever I'm saying about the football team, but it's like okay, I can give you a 2-hour soliloquy on why the things went wrong over the last year and a half with this football team, and it could be you could call them excuses, but you at the end of the day, they're just actual facts that have happened with the football team and win-loss situations in the football game and other things like that. And I think that always is going to come down to coaching, regardless of the player. So like, because that's been a big thing. I mean, we'll talk about it, I'm sure, with the candidates later, but like a lot of my Ravens fans are coming at me saying, well, it's not the players, it's the coaching when the Ravens are you're watching the Ravens end their season on a missed kick, a drop ball, turnovers in the playoff games. Like to me, that's like I'm not watching coaching. I'm watching the team, mishap in the situations that they need to. While the Cardinals, I can watch players be out of position. I can watch guys not know what they're talking about. I can watch penalties. I can watch missed tackles. I can watch all these things that are foundational, fundamental things about football that they're not doing well because they're not coached well. Like, so at the end of the day, like, if they sell me in a situation at the end when the players don't catch a ball or they turn the ball over or a kicker misses a kick, like I can live with that. As we went through that a lot in the Cliff era. How many times do we lose off of kicks? How many times do we lose off of small plays, as you just mentioned to AJ Green? Like I can live off of those. I can't live off of bad football. So and that to me is a lot what you saw from the JG football team post bye last year and all season this year. And I think kudos to Bidwell and the kudos to the fans. I think the fans being as loud as they were, like with saying fire JG, some of the notable names that were saying fire JG, like Mr. AZ Sports, like these guys, when you got people like Sue's, like fan of the year, Sue's basically saying, like, I'm done with this shit. Like when you got people like that saying it, it's like you have no choice but to, move off in a different direction. So Jay, get in here. I mean, this is a crazy time, for the desert. Suns are doing well, and then the Cardinals, are terrible. What are the vibes out there right now? Like,
yeah, I mean, pretty much like you said, like everyone's just down in the Cardinals. Until yesterday, I mean, like I said, I mean, myself included, I was looking at next season with no juice whatsoever, thinking like there was a legit chance they were going to try to run this thing back. And yeah, I mean, it feels great that they actually did decide to pull the trigger and sort of trim the fat. So I feel like there's like a little bit more of a sense of hope, especially you hear a guy, a name like Harbaugh that comes into potentially into the mix. I mean, probably going to be way too expensive for Michael Bidwell's taste. I mean, there's probably not a shot in hell we can afford him, but like just the possibility, I guess. And like you hear the names. I don't know if you guys saw my exchange yesterday with Albright on Twitter, but he was basically saying it's impossible that Kubiak comes here, which I don't know where he was getting that. But
he
like,
doesn't know anything. Like
dude, but
you can't.
he kept trying to like.
But he says he doesn't hate Like, why wouldn't? So what was the reason for him not coming here? Can you explain to me why he wouldn't want a head coach job?
No,
Like,
he couldn't explain, dude. I asked like why is that impossible, and he was like, I'm not getting into that.
Like,
And
bro,
then
you're a clown, bro.
and then he kept wanting to like make a bet with me. That which I'm like, dude, I'm not. Dude, he also had to pay
Yeah, I
Kyle
saw that.
Odegaard. He
I
had to pay
saw that.
Odegaard a grand, dude. Like he bet $1,000 with Odegaard on JG getting fired or not, and he like paid Odegaard a grand. So like.
Mhm.
Just pretty bizarre, dude. But yeah, no, I feel like the vibes are like a little bit better now, but you're still coming off a 3-win season. It looks like you're gonna, move off your franchise quarterback and like effectively, like, and the thing that sucks for me, dude, is like I'm kind of looking at this situation as if it's like an investment, and like from that standpoint, it's like it almost feels like with Kyler this year, like the stock per se, like wasn't booming, but it was like holding its own. And then you decided like, I'm just gonna pull my money out, right? Like they bench him, and then you put your money in the different stock per set, and it like really doesn't net any good returns, but like maybe like 1 week it just like it shot up, right? But then it like came all the way back down, and you're like, oh, like, and now you decide like the remaining money that you had in the Kyler stock, like, oh, we're just gonna like sell this, right? And for me, I'm looking at it like, damn, dude, like I like you're already invested in that stock, and like,
Bless you.
bless you, yeah. I feel like
Appreciate it.
you're invested in that Kyler stock, and now you're just gonna decide like, okay, we're just gonna like let him go, right? Like he's like 27, great athlete, like he's spent years now, like under professional NFL tutelage, and now you're just gonna like let him go and like basically just now be equipped with an NFL mind on another team, and now you're gonna go and decide like, oh yeah, like let's take a swing on like Mac Jones or as like a bridge, and like a bridge to what, bro? Like we're coming in with a new head coach. Or, Monty Austin for it loves to trade down, hates to trade up. Like it, I don't know, dude. Like I heard the rumor, and like honestly, I don't know how you guys feel about this, but I would be totally for like if the Jets were willing to go from 2 to 3, and we were giving Kyler for that, right? And they like take him and like make him their guy, and then we want to go and take Dante Moore. Like, okay, if you're gonna do that, that's something that like you could sort of sell me on and be like, okay, like, we got this potential stud coming in, like great success at Oregon, like, um, freak athlete, can throw the ball, like he's got all the
Mhm.
intangibles. But if you're gonna go, dude, and get rid of Kyler and take like a huge loss, right? Like sell the stock when you've lost money because he's got all this potential, and I think I don't know. There's something with like with his contract, right? So like you like literally could be like actually losing money, and then you're gonna go and get like a bridge guy, dude, or like God forbid, like run with Brissett. Like it just something like that, dude. Like if we decide to run it back with Brissett, or you go and you get, dude, like I don't know if you guys heard the Tua rumor, but like my God, man, like if we were to bring in Tua, like I would like potentially off myself. Like it like stuff like that. I'm just like, nah, that's not something I can get behind. Because if you're talking about bringing in a Mac Jones or keeping Brissett or bringing in a Tua, and you're getting rid of Kyler for that, like I just feel like me as like a fan shouldn't be able to look at that and be like, that's like definitely a mistake, right? So I don't know. Like I said, Corey, I know you stepped off for a sec, but like if they're gonna try to work something out with the Jets, right, to move from like 2 to 3, you go get Dante Moore and you give the Jets Kyler, like, all right, like I can get behind something like that. But if you're gonna go to one of these like bridge names, like I just feel like I'm tired of waiting, bro. And quite frankly, from that presser the other day, it seems like Bidwell is too. Like he alluded to like the Pats, the Broncos, like talking about these teams that sort of went from like worst to first in a year. And I mean, he could be blowing smoke. Like we know he's a clown, but like he was at least saying like he wants to win, and like this decision to fire JG, like kind of out of the blue, because like all the reports were saying that wasn't going to happen, was predicated on wanting to win now. So
Mhm.
honestly, dude, knowing that, like really like reviewing the facts, like I don't think he is going to go for a Brissett type of thing. Like I think we either like he like instructs Monty to like trade up and like take a swing with one of those guys, or you roll it back, run it back with Kyler, and then like if you have a bad year next year, okay, then you can go and draft a quarterback. But yeah, man, I mean, you asked about like the vibes like out here. I feel like yeah, they're trending up after the firing because now we like, dude, and this sort of happened with Cliff too. And like, Shot, I know you were a big Cliff guy, but like with Cliff, you kind of knew, and like me and Corey were of the camp of like, no, get this guy out. Like we wanted something different. We wanted a different culture, like no phone policy, all that crap. Like, and JG sort of provided that, hardened regimen of like, we're gonna work hard. We're gonna be at the facility at this time, and there's no phone, and
Yeah.
like all that shit of just like actually being disciplined and things. But dude, like the funny part is JG never got away from that like hard ass mentality, but he just
Mhm.
looked like the world's biggest buffoon when he kept that mentality, and we were literally getting dog walked the last couple months, bro. Like every game we were getting killed, and he just looked like a mega clown, dude. Like because it was like, dude, he's trying to keep this thing up, and it's like, dude, just say we suck. Like pull a Denny Green and just say like we fucking suck. And he just like was never able to swallow his pride. And yeah, man, like vibes wise, like I'm excited because there's going to be change. It's going to look different next year, and we need that. Like it just got the act got so old, man, and I just got
Mm,
so tired of it, and yeah, just ready for something new. So yeah, man,
yeah.
excited to see this coaching journey. Hopefully, it's not too long. Like would like to see that sort of take shape, sometime hopefully in like early March or so, because you
Mm,
got the draft coming up and all that. So yeah, but I'm excited. I know you boys are too. Like there's gonna be someone different. It's not gonna look like this next year. Like even if we're
yeah.
bad next year, bro, it's gonna look different. Like Jalen Thompson, dude, gone. Like all those guys that just stink and are liabilities on the field are probably gone. And like now we get into like the topic of like, dude, is Buddha done? Like, are we going to trade him for assets? Like, it's
Yeah.
just, I don't know, man. Like, I want to get young, but our defense has just been a liability for so long, and I'm like ready for that to change and actually be a team that can make plays,
Mm.
and just be competitive in games again. So yeah,
Yeah, as JG and his agent and his company was taking shots, camera out right there. I,
Yeah, no, they was definitely coming for me.
I'm in agreement with you. It's we gotta, I guess, switching into the next conversation of next coach. I think you mentioned something about Brissett, and I think that might be again like the PHNX guys are talking about. I'm not quite in agreement with them when they're mentioning this. Is like this Cardinals job is attractive and like on the surface, I want to say it is like you got some good players here, you got some good players there. Like that's amazing and all until like conversations are actually had about Bidwell and like these NFLPA report cards. Like how much do those going to end up playing in terms of who what guys are going to want you to come around and obviously Jonathan Gannon just got an A plus from his or A plus from his players. So like the head coach got it, but like you look at everything else with the ownership, like what kind of candidates would want to come in here unless you're paying them big bucks, obviously, to come in here to coach this football team. And again, you are in this division. I'm not. I hate that. I hate that excuse because
Yeah, I do
this
too.
division is what it is. Like, and again, the Cardinals won 3 games in this division last year, so any year can be your year to have success. But at the end of the day, like some people frown at that, and so like I was watching Rich Eisen today, and he was putting out there about the top. Before this was before the Baltimore news came out. The top 5, most attractable jobs, and obviously before 5, there were 6 jobs, and he didn't even mention the Cardinals in the 5. He made them in the one more because of the excuses I just made about the situation. So, um, honestly, I'm interested to hear you both. Like, obviously, we know what type of guys we want, but are these type of guys possible to get done? Like, I think I would say my list starts with obviously everybody wants Harbaugh. I think Sean, you don't want Harbaugh,
Yeah,
but
no, I don't want
I think
Harbaugh.
every other Cardinals fan would love to have John
Yeah,
Harbaugh for the most part. And then you're talking about Robert Saleh, Clint Kubiak, and then I think it's Flores, and then I see some people talking about McCarthy. I'm not as high on McCarthy, so I think my list would stop at Flores. But those 4, those are the type of guys I would want. But now I'm starting to question: will these guys even want to take this job? Like, are we going to be stuck? I saw we just interviewed Thomas Brown, or requested to interview Thomas Brown from the Patriots, passing game coordinator, and it's like, is that the option going to be stuck with because nobody else wants to take the job and everybody's declining interviews and taking other jobs? Like, that's the kind of the worry I'm kind of having a little bit when I'm starting to think about it. And it's like I want to upgrade from JG in terms of what this team can be in this division that they're in. But if I don't get that, I'm gonna be also worried, like because I think waiting for the next up and coming coordinator that's not Clint Kubiak, in my opinion, is a dangerous game when it comes to this. So,
yeah,
who are y'all thinking for coaches? Obviously, Shaw, I know you've been a Kubiak guy. So, but who else in terms of that list would you be thinking is going to come in here
yeah.
and try
No,
to coach this team?
I definitely, obviously, Kubiak's number one on my list. Dang, you got a nosebleed there, Jake.
yeah, it's just hit
Where,
Jesus,
classic.
but
Gannon's coming for all of us. What the hell?
but
Go ahead, JG.
Mike McCarthy would be up there for me. Brian Flores would be like the defensive guy. I mean, I guess Robert Saleh too. Like I know, like Corey, you talked about Robert Saleh and like him having familiarity in the defense. I mean, in the division. I personally, I feel like there's enough coaching candidates up there, like enough good coaching candidates out there that like they should land on somebody that's pretty decent. Anybody, I mean, anybody's better than JG, but I do think that we should go offensively because I mean, you look at the team and like you kind of mentioned, Jake, like, what's the best scenario. I'm always interested in trying to win, right? Like I look around the league, I look at the Jaguars, the Bears, the Patriots. These are teams that like basically went from, 5 or less wins last year to now they're in the playoffs and they're having a ton of success with either like second year quarterback or a rookie head coach, um, or even a rookie GM in Jacksonville's case. Um, I feel like it's doable every year. It happens every year. It happened with the Texans 2 years ago. It happened with the Commanders 2 years ago. Um, and I feel like why not? Why can't that be us? And so I'm always looking at like, okay, best case scenario. And to me, best case scenario is you pair up whoever you think is best when it comes to offensive coaching and whatever. And you pair that person up with Kyler because I don't think that there's any quarterback out there that will help you win more games next year than Kyler Murray. Like, I mean, and you could call me a homer, you can call me biased or whatever, but like, I'm not taking a rookie. It could be Mendoza, it can be Dante Moore. I'm not taking them over Kyler Murray when it comes to trying to win next year. And same with Mac Jones and Tua and who. I mean, some people might think Mac Jones is better than Kyler. I don't, right? Like, I don't think that he's even close. So, like, you talk about Robert Saleh. He probably would want to bring in Mac Jones. I don't think that gives you the best case scenario of winning. Um, I feel like um, Kubiak, McCarthy, Flores, Saleh. I know a lot of people weren't really interested in Dable, but I would take Dable too. I think Dable's a good coach. Um,
I would take him.
and that's I think that's all I can think of right now. I can say why I don't like John Harbaugh. And this is coming from a Ravens fan who I like it's one of my guys. He follows the Ravens, or he's been following the Ravens all his life, and like he just straight up told me he's just like, bro, the dude sucks at in-game adjustments. Like
Mhm.
he's constantly getting out coached, and like your special teams will be great. Your players are gonna love him. I mean, and players love Jonathan Gannon, but like I want somebody who specializes in something, like because we need that as an advantage. Like John Harbaugh to me doesn't give your team an advantage other than like your players are gonna play hard for him, right? That's Jonathan Gannon. The players are gonna play hard for him. But like if the players suck, the team's going to suck. I feel like we need somebody who is going to give us an advantage on either side of the ball, whether that's I prefer offense, but if it's Flores, if it's Salah, you're clearly to me getting an advantage with defense when it comes to X's and O's. I mean, Salah had his defense playing lights out this year and they lost their two best players on their defense. You know what I'm saying? Brian Flores had the Vikings defense playing crazy. Like if that's the case, if you're gonna get somebody, you got to get somebody who specializes in something. That's why I also like Mike McCarthy because he's gonna have your offense lit. To me he's like a high floor, I mean a high yeah high floor, but maybe a low ceiling type of guy. But I feel like we need to raise the floor of the team.
Yeah, that's
So
interesting points. That you know the only pushback I would have for Harbaugh is that like they somehow end up winning games, and you can some people, most Ravens fans would probably attribute it to Lamar Jackson. So
yeah.
I wouldn't even put it in that sense. But this was in 2008. I'm
I was gonna
watching from
say,
2008
bro.
to 2000. Before they got Lamar, I believe in 2017, whatever year that was, 2018. That's 10 years of them still finding a way to win games. And again, Ravens fans would then attribute this to Ray Lewis and Ed Reed. So it's like it's hard to get past, the these guys are legendary players, so they get the legendary acclamations for their games and stuff like that. But I don't know. Me personally, it's just like they end up winning football games. The system around the organization wins football games, and you can attribute that to the general manager, the quarterback, or the football team. But I've seen Lamar play badly and they win football games. I've seen Lamar not play and they win football games. So it's like they figure out, in my opinion, ways to win. And I think that's just what the Cardinals need is a guy that can just make them find ways to win. And when it comes down to the playoff time, I think a lot of it has always come down to their players in the playoffs. So I think if we can just get to the playoffs, and our guys cannot sell. Like you got to have a lot of luck in the playoffs to win in the playoffs. Like the Chiefs are
Hmm.
abnormality. Like the Patriots were abnormality. Like a lot of NFC teams are changing in and out every year to go to the Super Bowl or to have success. So like you can just find that one season of success, and it goes a long way, especially for our franchise. So I mean, at the end of the day, I can hear the John Harbaugh stuff too, though, about people having their worries. And again, He's like 68, I think. I don't even know how old he is, to be honest.
No,
But
no, no, no. He's got to be like 62.
oh, okay,
And
he's still a
then
little
I
old
I
for
will
me.
say the last thing that I saw people were talking about was like, oh, he'll be close to his brother. He's in LA, family that like I don't want nobody that's coming over here thinking that this is just like a retirement party, like on some JJ Watt shit.
I
Like
totally agree, bro.
if you're coming here, you need to be locked and loaded, like
That's a great point.
trying to win in this division. You know what I'm saying? Like because John
Yeah,
Harbaugh has already won. You know, so like he could come over here and just like, okay, it's the Cardinals. Like if I win like 8 games a year, make the playoffs like here and there, they're gonna love me, this and that. But like, I mean, you're going up against McDonald, Shanahan, and McVay, and them dudes ain't going nowhere for the next 10 years. So
you're making good
Mhm.
points.
yeah.
I will say this. I'll offer 2 points. So Corey is pro Harbaugh. Shad is uh not pro Harbaugh. Against Harbaugh. So I think okay, two realities could exist. He comes in, coaches for us for like 3 or 4 years. We get to the playoffs, like maybe like 2 or 3 times. Sort of changes the culture, man. Like maybe draft a quarterback that's a proven guy. It's going to be here for a while, and then you sort of change the narrative of the Arizona Cardinals. And then the next guy that wants to come in for the long term is like, oh, this is actually a desirable team. Like they've got Trey McBride, they've got maybe look down the road. Michael Wilson's like, turns into a 1,000-yard receiver, perennially. They got maybe we hit another player. They got a stud tackle. And all of a sudden, like the next coach coming in wants to be here. The way that they're looking at, Shad out in your area, like that Falcons position. Like all I'm hearing about on Twitter is how attractive the Falcons position is.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
I think that possibility could exist. Then on the other hand, like you said, I really don't want a guy that is going to come in and sort of keep the Arizona retirement home thing going. That JJ Watt shit like sucked, like especially like this past month, like hearing like he never actually wanted to come here and like was going to go play for the Packers for like a bag of peanuts and like a sticker. And then when it turned into the Cardinals, he like milked us for like 3 times the amount that he was going to take to play in Green Bay. Hearing something like that is like really shitty because like we all care a lot about the Cardinals, and I literally like in a weird way consider the Cardinals like an extension of who I am, bro. So it's like hearing some shit like that, like I'm like, dude, that is so depressing and like demoralizing. Then on the other hand, going back to the pro Harbaugh side, I feel like the three of us and the rest of the Cardinals faithful sort of has this jaded perception of like a coach because our last few guys, right? Like, and I'll go on record as saying like Steve Wilkes, like it didn't look good, and that was a really tough year in 2018. But like, I mean, that guy was really like he really didn't get any chance. Like, I mean, he was coming out with the rookie quarterback who is investment banker now, and like dude, like he was forced right out. So like, but even still, that was a really bad year. But then Cliff and now Gannon, like I think it's fair to say, like, and I'm not saying like right now with Cliff, but like at the time he was like fully incompetent of being like a strong, good head coach. And Gannon clearly is of the same makeup, that Cliff was when he was our coach. He's clearly not like a head coach. And like I've at least at this time, right? And he's still young as far as like coaches go, but like, that's
I don't
been
even know if he's a DC.
well, but bro, the crazy thing
Sorry.
is, dude, I don't blame you. And honestly, like, I remember the noise was super loud when we hired him, and the Eagles fans were like, nah, fuck this guy. Like, he's not that good defensively. And like, it's just tough too. I don't want to get too far off track, but like you have the 4-win season, the first year we're supposed to win like no games, right? We weren't favored in a single game. And we're like, oh shit, like this is like the best 4-win team of all time. And then last year we're projected to win like 4.5 games. And at one point we're in first place in the division and we finish 8 and 9. And like the three of us were all like, dude, like this is good, right? Like we all got so hyped up and we're talking, you know, conservatively 11 wins in 2025. And like, dude, it's just but my point is like we've just had such a bad run with coaches that are like clearly terrible coaches, and I'm kind of like a guy like Harbaugh to me wouldn't I would like to get a guy like that that's like won a Super Bowl, made the playoffs like 15 times, like knows what it takes, because a guy like Cliff Kingsbury, like he's really never had success at any level. Like besides, I guess the OC with the Commanders for 1 year, he doesn't know what it takes. Jonathan Gannon, like he was there with Philly, but like that team was just a juggernaut, right, for the last couple of years. So he doesn't really like know what it takes, as the head coach. I wouldn't hate a guy, to come in and actually like know what it takes and like has actually been there as the skipper, not a coordinator. That being said, if Kubiak decided he wanted to come here, like sign me the hell up. I would absolutely take that. But apparently that's impossible. So if that's the case, my other top choice personally would be Robert Sala. I think we were talking about it the other day. I was talking about it with someone. It might have been in the group chat with us. It might have been a different one. But you can't really judge Sala based off the Jets. Like that team is borderline more dysfunctional than we are. He really didn't have a chance there. Like the defense was actually like always pretty good when he was there, but the offense was just so putrid that they were always the Jets. But like a guy like that, like if we could steal him from San Fran, like he has experience losing as a head coach, but then he went back to San Fran and like hot take, but I think he's done a phenomenal job with that defense, considering they've lost like all of their best players, right? Um, it like if he was coaching our current defense, like I feel like it would like we got names, like I feel like it would be a pretty decent unit. So I would be all in on Sala as well. But yeah, that's kind of just the point I wanted to make is like I feel like we as Cardinals fans like don't even really know what it feels like to have like a decent head coach, right? Like the last one really was Bruce
and,
Arians, and like we had a couple decent years with him. But outside of that, bro, like it seems like the coaching in some facet is always letting us down. Always letting us down. So
and real quick before you go, Corey, that's always been my biggest like defense when it comes to Kyler, and like his production and like obviously like I got people in my mentions today and yesterday telling me, oh well, he's 38 and 48, like he falters at the end of the season, this and that, blah blah blah. But like if you just like look at things through a like an I guess an objective lens, like I mean, his first head coach was somebody who never coached in the NFL before, right? Like he tears his ACL also like the year after, he had his best year of his career. And then he comes back and I mean the coaching staff and the team was just flat out like incompetent. I mean, like you said, we were projected to lose every game in JG's first year, but we won four. Three of them was because Kyler came back. He came back and won his first game. Like, and then the following year he wins 8 games. So like again, with the coaching staff that like, you know, Drew Petzing, Jonathan Gannon just probably shouldn't have been coaching in the NFL, right? Like they shouldn't have been
Mhm.
paired together. And my biggest thing when it comes to like if we do go a defensive guy, like, and this is why I really like I really like Kubiak and I really like Mike McCarthy, is because I think that it should be you should prioritize offense in today's NFL. Like I'm not like it's rare that you have a defensive guy that like one can maintain a like competent offensive play caller. Like I don't know how the Bucks did it like the last 2 years where they had Canales and Canales left and they had Liam Cohn and now Cohn's gone, but like it's just hard for you to maintain that play caller, right?
Mhm.
Um, and so that would be my biggest fear is like you get Salah or you get um Flores, and then let's just say they bring in whoever, right? Like whoever to coach offense, Dable or something. Dable might be gone next year.
Yep.
I mean Cliff got fired, but he's looking at another head coaching job. The Bills are lucky that Joe Brady hasn't gotten a job yet, but like it just always happens with these defensive guys, like their guys just always go, and so I just personally I prefer offensive guy because I feel like that's what the league like you should prioritize that. in the league, and I want somebody who's going to be there to call plays and kind of evolve with the NFL.
I couldn't be, in agreement anymore. And I just, at the end of the day, I want to see this team get back, not even get back to start the trend of winning. Be a consistent team in these, in the midst of everything. Like again, I'm sitting listening to all these TV shows, podcasts, football talk shows, anything that could be, football segments, talking about the coaching vacancies and talking about the openings. And now that Baltimore's even open, it's going to get even worse. Like the Cardinals are getting zero appreciation, love, or even recognition that they are also an opening right now, and that's because of just who the aspect of the team is. Like even the Browns are getting love because of their for some reason it's Cleveland. That's just has a fascination with the NFL. They just consider Ohio football, so that I guess that's what it is in that aspect. But they've been dirt garbage for the years, and people still care about them. You know, talking about the Raiders, and I think that has a lot to do with Tom Brady, but it's Las Vegas. It's a destination place. Like, it's the AFC West. They get to go against Patrick Mahomes. Like a lot of things happen. Like for the Cardinals, it's just a lot of nothing. It's a lot of people not even talking about the job, not even considering it, not even, wanting to talk about who would be the proper candidates. And, Orlovsky put it out there today that, the Cardinals should be calling Harbaugh and trying to hire him tonight. Obviously, it's not going to happen, but he's. I feel like personally, that's one guy that is trying to give recognition to all 32 teams, and he feels as though that's a guy that would give the Cardinals the type of recognition they need, to be respected, and then go out there and then do what they need to be doing on a football Sunday. And it's always gonna all that respect and anything like that is going to come from winning football games. Shaw, you mentioned the Jags, like they got their respect this year by winning football games. They won 13 games, and it's like you look up and it's like, what the fuck? The Jags won 13 games, and it's us as Cardinal fans are like, shit, we played the Jags. We forced 4 turnovers against these dudes. We probably should have beat them. It's like you talk about teams can change it around when the right leaders and the right things are in place, and obviously you need a little bit of luck. Luck goes a long way. But luck can come at any instance. Luck came for us last year. It'd be the first 10 weeks. Like we didn't capitalize on the luck in the second half of the season. So it's a lot to go through. But I think the Cardinals will be perfectly fine without Jonathan Gannon. Rest in peace to Jonathan Gannon, the head coach. It's been real. Like I said, we were on your side. We were for 2 years straight. I think all of us were on your side. But things turned for the worst, and literally the entire fan base turned on them in an instant. So. It's tough, but I think the Cardinals can find themselves out of it.
I want to say real quick too, congrats to I actually did reach out to him at one point via Instagram as well, but congrats to Shad's boy Josh on his Jags. Oh, yeah. I know he was pumped up about that, but yeah, great dude. Had a lot of fun with him for that Cardinals Jags game. And yeah, happy to see his team, advancing, and I do have a soft spot for the Bills, so it's gonna be a tough weekend for me. Just wish both of those teams could advance, man. So, but yeah, congrats to Josh for sure.
So you're also a Chargers fan this week, is what you're telling me.
Yeah. I can't care to comment on that, but Corey, I know you showed some love to Mayday, so I know he appreciates that. And those guys know I could never root for the Patriots. So, but yeah, but yeah, dude. Honestly, too, like shout out to Dan Orlovsky. And I don't know if you guys heard too. He was on the call for the what game was it? I think it was it was the Panthers Bucks game. And I thought he did a phenomenal job. I actually tweeted at him because he was just like, calling out the refs and stuff. Like Carolina, I felt like was getting screwed on a lot of calls, and he was saying that, like, sometimes you're just on the wrong end of it. And but yeah, man, I definitely have a lot of respect for Dan, and I think he's great at what he does. And props to him, dude, for that tweet about the Cardinals, because he's got a pretty big platform at this point. So like at least someone's dude like is having our back. He did like what Corey said. Like he literally said, like he tweeted out, like,
call Harbaugh tonight and try to hire him.
Oh,
at Arizona Cardinals. Like, and I think that's pretty cool, bro. Like, obviously, it's not going to happen, not going to do it, but like, just kind of cool, man, that he's at least like, because like Corey said, bro, like, no one is talking about this Cardinals job, and like we got a top 3 pick, dude. And I mean, you got guys that are budding, like he got hurt this year, but like you guys know, I love Mac Truck, and like Trey is the best tight end in the league. Like you can't even tell me he's not. Like Walter Nolan is promising. Like Will Johnson, dude. Like hopefully, if that dude cannot be the dude from SpongeBob, like skin is made of paper, bones are made of glass type of thing. Because I don't know if you guys saw, but in that Week 18 game, it looked like he like tore his ACL, and like based on what he's been posting and stuff, like I don't think that is the case. But like, dude, I'm like, come on,
Mhm.
man, like we can't have that. So, but yeah, like I said, I just think the job is better than it's being made out to be, and you get a top three pick, and you get Kyler, who's like like he's got hella accolades, so you get to make your choice, right? Like, and dude, it'll be interesting too because like, dude, there's a scenario where like one of these coaches we want, like, what if Kubiak is on the table and he interviews and Monty's like, yeah, what would you do with Kyler? And he says like, I'm about what he's about and I want to keep him. Like that, dude, that's a possibility. Like one of these guys could come in or like a Dable and be like, I want to keep Kyler. Like he's under contract. Let's like roll with him. Like, so I think part of it for me as to why I'm so excited about this coaching thing is like, who knows what it could turn into, bro? Like Mike Vrabel was cast aside with the Titans because that was a shit organization. And his GM was basically cutting him at the knees every chance he got, getting rid of Derrick Henry and AJ Brown. Um, but he goes to the Patriots and now he's like gonna win coach of the year. And he pairs May with the quarterback whisperer, Josh McDaniels, and May goes from being like a very average guy to now he's like quite literally like MVP caliber in year two. So yeah, man, I'm excited that like maybe for once we actually get it right, and like the next guy that comes in like has a good head on his shoulders and can like get something going in the right direction. So it's a happy day, man. It's definitely a happy day.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a worry. What you mentioned about what is the selling point and the pitching point in these interviews from our side to the head coach, like because if Monty's steadfast on you saying I'm getting rid of Kyler, and then a candidate that we may want is saying, well, why don't you keep him? He's going to be like, um, well, the plan is to move off of him. So then you start coming about like, whose plan is going to prevail in the end when it comes to these. So that's definitely like again, I think the roster, excuse me, I think the roster itself, is it's there for the most part. I think there's still some pieces that I would like to have added, especially on the offensive line, and some pieces on the interior defensive line. But like you talk about this football team, there is place for a lot of growth and a lot of potential here. So I don't think the players are quite the issue. I think it all starts just everything's going to come down to word of mouth from Bidwell, and again, what is Bidwell willing to pay out for a coach, and what's the plan that they have implemented for their roster when it comes to quarterback? If they're telling that their new head coach candidate, like we're drafting a quarterback, we're going to try to move up to whatever it is and draft a quarterback, and even if the first two are gone, we're still going to draft a quarterback. It's like, well, you don't want to force a pick, so then it's like, it's just a lot of question marks, I guess, that have to be answered first. And so obviously, if Kyler, I think, is on the roster past March 16th, he's due that however many million it is based on being on the roster. So you're talking about if they're moving off of him, they're moving off of him pretty quick. And it's not going to be, it's not going to be a long term thing. And I even saw today a report came out. I think that said that I think Johnny Venerable put that out that they were trying to they were trying to move off of Kyler during the midseason, but the price point and the teams that were looking to do it just weren't ready for the move yet, and or they couldn't fulfill that move at that time. But they may try to kick the tires again in this offseason. So it's like I don't know. I don't know what to be prepared for. I think any news with Kyler would be a shock to me if we keep him. I think it would be a shock if he's gone. That would be in a little bit of a shock. So it's like, but I think I'm more so worried about the coach that's going to come in here and what type of plan he has to win some football games. I don't think Kyler will help us win football games, but I think a lot of this football team just needs a lot of better coaching, and that'll help win football games as well. So it'll be interesting to see what their plan would be. But
Yeah,
go
I
ahead.
was gonna say the last thing, like, I mean, part of, and we talked about this, part of the reason why also we're so excited for Jonathan Gannon to be gone is because he's not gonna be a part of that process in selecting the next quarterback if they do choose to do that, right? And like, I fully believe that like, you bring in a guy, a head coach, and the head coach and you let the head coach tell you, hey, this is how I want to play football. This is how I want to win games. And if you're Monty and Bidwell, that's what you're signing up for. Like, I don't think that they should be telling them, like, there shouldn't be a Kyler Murray is here or there mandate, right? Like, it should be like, what will help us win games next year? What do you see from our team standpoint that'll help us win games next year? And if he's a part of that, cool. You know, like if he's not, then it is what it is. I've been saying that from like the get go for everybody that wants to get rid of Kyler. Like I can get behind getting rid of Kyler if the process is done right, right? Like, but like if it's just like oh well, Monty is just shipping him out of here because like, I mean, maybe he doesn't want to be. I mean, if he doesn't want to be here, then that's another story, right? Like, but if we're just talking about like he still wants to be here, a coach can come in and convince him to play. Um, I mean, I don't know why you would want to get rid of him other than, that's not your playing style as a head coach, right? So I just trust somebody else more than I trust Jonathan Gannon and Drew Petzing to make that decision. So
Agreed. Great point.
Yeah. And we'll have definitely a lot of, pods throughout this offseason, as we did last offseason, talking about, free agency and draft and potentials. We'll probably have a pod, not quite breaking, but any news happens with Kyler or anything like that on the move, we'll definitely have a pod for that. But, quickly before we head out of here, any non-quarterbacks that, you guys are eyeing at pick number 3 now that we have that based on, kind of the way the end of the season shook out for some teams. So we landed 3. Any non-quarterbacks you guys are thinking about potentially drafting at 3 right there?
I mean, I know the obvious answer, and I haven't really watched tape on him, but like, I mean, bro, if Ruben Bain is a edge rusher that people are saying he's gonna come in the league, and you know what I'm saying, you got a 10 sack guy off the rip. I mean, I don't know why you don't just draft that. Like,
Dude,
to me,
no.
he,
I was gonna say no bullshit here. Honestly, like I really didn't watch a ton of college this year. Where is he coming from?
he's coming from Miami, so you'll get to see him
Oh, that
in the
kid, yeah,
playoffs.
yeah.
But like, if it's truly a Nick Bosa, Kyler Murray situation where you're choosing like edge rusher or quarterback or like best player available or quarterback, I mean, bro, like I said this on Twitter, like it's no point in trading back and doing all these intricacies to get, offensive linemen and this and that. Like just take the best pass rusher because you
Yeah.
see how good Will Anderson is, Myles Garrett, Micah Parsons. Like you add that to Josh Sweat, who already had 12 sacks this year. I mean, he had a career high in sacks.
12
Like,
sacks. Dude, what about that kid from Texas Tech? Is it Bailey, the last name?
yeah, I don't know anything. I don't know anything about him either.
Bro, do some
Bailey.
research on him. That kid is a freak. In that Oregon game, I mean, obviously Texas Tech didn't score a point, but dude, him on the defense, like he was sick. Corey, do you know about him?
Yeah, I know you're talking about.
He's like a beast, dude. I gotta do some tape watching on this kid from Miami you're talking about. But I totally agree, bro. Because like maybe a coach comes in here that's like, nah, let's give Kyler another shot, and then you are able to go get a guy like that could potentially grow into, like a guy of that caliber of all the dudes that you just mentioned, and all of a sudden, bro, like Sweat's in his prime, and like we could like completely flip the narrative, like right off the rip, bro. Like imagine those two guys chasing down Darnold next year, like make him see ghosts.
And I'm not gonna lie, and this is probably like the most probably unpopular take that y'all will hear probably all off season. But like I'm cool with even if they want to do a Jacksonville, Houston Texans, you give up a first round pick next year to trade up to get an additional guy, right? Like the Texans left that draft with Will Anderson and CJ Stroud, right? And you're looking like, oh well, the Texans pick next year is gonna be trash, this and that. Same with Jacksonville. They traded a pick last year and to get Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter didn't even play this year, but it's just the balls to do some shit like that. Like I don't know. I'm at this point. I'm down with it. Like I have faith in whoever, or I feel like I'm gonna have faith in whoever they bring in to really make some shit shake next year.
Yeah,
Is there a second player
gotta
that
take
you
a
had
swing.
that you had considered?
I mean, yeah, no. I'm saying like if you want a quarterback, right? Like if you want a quarterback,
okay.
and you're like, okay, Dante Moore is the guy. and y'all are talking about like like moving, like trying to get to, like if you're giving up
Yeah.
Kyler, whatever, give up a future first round pick, get Dante Moore, get Bane, keep it pushing. If you're really sold on one of these quarterbacks, I mean, I'm not. I'm just talking from a management standpoint, but like I'm cool with some shit like that.
You guys are fully out on Ty Simpson, right?
Yeah, I'm out on Ty Simpson.
I felt like, dude, this
I'm out on Ty Simpson.
he was getting me so hyped, bro, when it seemed like a foregone conclusion that Kyler was gone. And then like this last month, he's just been like so ass that I'm like, like I don't think he's better than Kyler at all.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, are we confirmed though? Like the Raiders are going to take Mendoza, and then like maybe we have an opportunity with the Jets. Is that what it's looking like?
I think everything shakes out with how these coaches play out. So I feel like that's kind of where we have to wait it out. I should say, and try to figure out from there.
Dude, low-key, how
I
these
think
playoffs pan out
I
too.
think Mendoza is no, I think Mendoza is a lock to the Raiders. I mean, like they got Tom Brady over there helping them out. Like I just feel like it's a lock. Like, yeah.
It wouldn't be surprising at all.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No,
that's all I got though.
Yeah. So, momentous day here for this podcast this is something that we wanted. Obviously the season did not shake out how we wanted. A lot of disappointment going around. And it's just trying to figure out how to, shape it up again. It's the same old story for the Cardinals year in and year out is trying to figure out how to shape it up again. So as we sit here on January 6th, 2026, hopefully we have a coach within the next 2 weeks. Will be my hope. 2-3 weeks will be my hope. And you figure out a plan to get back competitive in this division and win the goddamn division. Literally, we're being dragged through the mud as Cardinals, as an organization. Every time that we fire a coach, every time things don't shake out, every time there's a Kyler Murray news thing, there's, oh, Kyler sucks. Oh, the Cardinals suck. Oh, this organization is trash. Who wants to come in and change that? I did believe JG wanted to come in and change that, but he just didn't get it done. So I need a guy that's going to want to still come in here and change that, but actually get it done. So, yeah, that's really what it comes down to in all essence.
Yeah.
All right. Do you boys got anything else before we head out?
No.
Right.
That's pretty much it for me.
Like I said, we'll be back at some point. Obviously, some big news is to come at some point, so we'll definitely be here to chat about it. But till then, appreciate anybody that listened, and we will see y'all on the next one.
All right. Peace, y'all.
Catch you, fellas.